Welcome to the Love, Listen, Talk, Repeat podcast. My name's Wendy Capewell. I'm the host of the show. I'm sure you're keen to hear this episode, so let's get started. I met today's guest, Frances Kelleher, a dating specialist on social media. Frances has written an article about one-night stands, which she shared on LinkedIn. I found her opinions very interesting, and I really wanted this lady on my show. She agreed, and here she is. So please introduce yourself, Frances.
Well, hello everybody, and thanks so much, Wendy, for having me. So lovely to be here chatting to you. So I'm a dating specialist. I'm living in the southwest of Ireland in a little town called Killarney, a beautiful picturesque town with lakes and mountains. It's lovely here. And I started my company because I found it hard enough myself, first of all, to meet the right person. It can be difficult, especially with the times that are changing, with the internet having such a big effect on dating. And I'm happy to say I did meet the man of my dreams, so I'm very lucky. And it was such a seismic shift in my life. Meeting the right person, it can be just so inspiring, and it just, it enhances you in every way to be the best person you can be. And I suppose basically I just want everyone to be as happy as I am, because I suppose sometimes I feel we're chasing the wrong things in life. We're chasing the ego, our egos can chase, money and, high status in career, and really happiness and love. It all comes down to the people in your life. So that's mainly why I started my business.
I think that's lovely. I think, and I guess the reason I work with people who are struggling with relationships is because I've screwed up enough of my own. And I just thought, I didn't get that help. I didn't get that guidance. I didn't really, as you say, we follow the wrong things. We're looking for the wrong things when we start a relationship. And so it's kind of that, these are the mistakes I made. I've learnt them too late, but maybe I can help others because having been there, but I know what went wrong. And I've done a lot more research and training on it since, but it was my own personal experience as well. Yeah. So it sounds like you kind of figured a lot out, which is brilliant. And I think
hopefully, I mean, I'm still making mistakes, and I suppose like as you well know, Wendy, relationships are hard and we all make mistakes, and I suppose mainly, it's about forgiveness and compromise and flexibility. So I'm learning every day, and I'm trying to be better every day. But, it can be hard work. I think people feel, once they're married and once you've the dating down, that's it. Whereas really, I'm married myself now, and I feel it's where the hard work really starts, especially with children, So, we need to.
That's another added bit in the mix, isn't it? Because you're going along and you're getting to know each other, and then you've got another third person or maybe fourth in the mix, and the dynamics and all the other stuff that goes with it, and that really complicates things. And I do get it. We're all on a learning curve. That's it. I totally agree, and we're human beings. So I really loved this article you wrote. Can you tell us more about it? Because I think it's interesting. It's an interesting perspective.
Yeah, well, I really feel strongly about it because, I think the research is there and the evidence, and all that. But I would start with saying, the first thing really with meeting someone, even in business or in an interview, it's a first impression. It's so important to put the best foot forward you have for the first impression, because you only get one chance. You can only make one first impression, and people remember it. People do remember most of the time the first time they've met somebody, especially a romantic partner and in that arena,
Yeah.
So like with first impressions, I think, like, first of all, they're major in dating. Like, men make life-changing, critical decisions with regard to the nature of their relationship with women within the first 10 minutes. Men size women up. The research has said it. It's, people wouldn't realize it's that quick, but men are very instinctive, they make up their mind about you before they know you. So it's important to get it right. And, you know, men love standards. They mightn't admit that, you know, even, you know, just with the banter back and forth, but really ultimately men love standards and they want women to be better than them. So, you know, the women bring out the best in the men. That's what a man wants. So basically, you know, as well, with regard to the one night stands, first of all, you're making the man earn it, earn your love, earn your benefits, which would be sex and intimacy and all that, and everything else, your time, your friendship, you know. And men want to earn it. They don't want it easy. That's the way men are built. It's the masculine energy. You know, they're all about focus, drive, challenge. I mean, it's all about that. So that's fun for men to be able to earn something, win it over. So that's the first thing, you know, I'd say about that. Women, we're built very differently. We're way more emotional, you know, we're way more think things through. Men are simple creatures, you know, they're black or they're white. So I just think really, you know, even human nature, not just men, you appreciate more what you have to earn. And, you know, like basically, like sex is a man's game and commitment is a woman's. And it's in your best interest to make them earn it. That's the first thing, you know, I'd say about it. So
that's a really interesting perspective, isn't it? You know, because I think women, as you say, they're more emotional and they're more likely to feel you know, if a man wants to have sex with them, then they feel, oh, he must love me, he must like me. But actually, that's not quite the way, is it?
No.
What you're saying.
Exactly. Like there's the point two then is like women and men, they react differently to one night stands. So even physically, a woman is made up differently when it comes to sex and one night stands. When we have sex with a man, we give off the drug. It's known as the love drug. Not for nothing. It's so intense.
No. Oxytocin.
Yes,
That's the one, isn't it? The love drug. Yeah.
That's right, the oxytocin, and that's also known as the bonding chemical.
Yeah.
So it makes women drop their guard, number one. Number two, it makes them see things through rose-colored glasses. So your judgment is impaired. So, I mean, you could be attaching yourself onto Ted Bundy as much as you would your partner. Your hormones can't decipher, you know? You're not thinking clearly. So like before sex, a woman is thinking clearly. After, she is not. The reverse for a man. Before sex, a man is not thinking clearly because he's fired up, his passion, all the rest of it. Then when the deed is done, he is thinking clearly. He's thinking, is this girl somebody I can bring home to my mother? Is this girl right for me? You know, does this girl have standards? So it's even physically, it's different. And emotionally, I mean, emotionally, women want loads of things from having sex. Men just want sex. So the women, they want to feel attractive, they want to feel desired, you know. And the most important thing here, I think, you know, women should keep in their minds, because it's huge and it's very important, is a man lowers his standards for a one night stand. So women think, oh my God, I'm so flattered. This guy wants to be with me. He wants to be intimate with me. Oh, this is just everything I want. But they don't realize that. So, you know, a man does lower his standards for a one night stand. And when it comes to sex, you know, men want quantity, whereas women want quality. So there's a huge difference there, you know.
Oh, how fascinating.
Yeah, it actually goes back to evolution with the women, because women know how important a father is in the house. I mean, children that grow up without a father, they're 5 times more likely. 5 times. Just think about that number for a second. 5 times more likely to grow up in poverty. 3 times more likely to drop out of school. Twice as likely to come into crime, drugs. The list goes on and on. Yeah. So the number one thing that women look for in men is actually trustworthiness. And it goes back to evolution, having a man there for our children, you know?
Yeah. And of course, the man is the hunter-gatherer, the provider. The woman's the nurturer. So those kind of things that, you know, we can't get away from those feelings, can we? You know,
We
those
can't.
basic instincts, they're in our DNA. You just can't get away from it. So
That is so true.
yeah.
When you say instincts, Wendy, it's so true. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. So there is, I mean, that I think it's always been a case, hasn't it, that we can't say it's just this generation that are just having one night stands. I think, you know, you go back to the wars and so on, you know, when you didn't know if a man was coming back or from the war, and or you know, the men were away and then the women were left and then a man would turn up and all of that, you know. So I mean, it's not, we can't just turn around and say, oh well, it's this generation. But I do feel there's something, someone said something, a therapist who worked with younger people, and she said to me one day, men, as we would shake hands with someone when we met, youngsters now will have sex. And that was quite an interesting kind of thought, really, because I thought, yeah, do they really value it as you know, you're saying that the standards are lowered and the expectations and so on, but and then you end up searching for that because you know, you haven't got that satisfaction.
Yes, I think like it's leading to a lot of loneliness. I think definitely women are giving away their power more today than before, and I think people are getting more miserable. Not just, you know, in dating circles, and that it's getting harder and all that in life, you know. And I think it's just that you know, what you're saying, like, I suppose maybe women think as well, you know, if I give him everything, he'll be interested more in me, and I can give away this for nothing, and that's going to enhance the relationship and catch him, as it were. You know what I mean? And definitely, I feel it's the opposite, because, you know, I mean, even in businesses, they have a probation period of 6 months to see what a worker is like. Are they trustworthy? Are they going to invest in the company and do a good job? I mean, even in business, you know what I mean? It's logical to hold back and witness things for a while before you jump in, you know? And I definitely think if you jump all in, and especially with women, we're so emotional, you know, and women want the love story in the dating. We want our own fairy tale, our own love story. So like we are grasping at that, and I understand that. But I think that time should definitely be used to see what's in it for you. You know, I call it the holding period, like an aircraft holding before it lands, you know. That's the time you should be checking out, not in a selfish way, just in a smart, logical way. Is this man going to be good for me? What's this man going to bring to me? I know I'm going to give him everything, physically, emotionally, mentally, sexually. What am I going to get? Is he going to be there to invest in my children, if our children, if we have children? And definitely, that's the time to get a man to bond. That's the time to get him. If he's interested enough in you, he'll want to spend time with you. He'll want your time. He'll want your company. That'll be enough of the benefits, you know, without the sex, if he's really interested. And as well, I feel, you know, it's the best time to smoke all the time wasters out, because, you know, like, time isn't a woman's friend, especially for women. Men have a bit more time, you know.
Yeah, the biological clock is ticking.
Exactly. And like, you don't want to waste your time. Like, I see a huge thing with women not meeting the right partner is the time wasters, the roadblocks that block them from the right man. So like, if once you can get rid of the time wasters, it's nearly a home run, you know. And the best way is, don't sleep with the man. See if he's really keen, and if he's not, he might run a mile, and he might just want fun and have no interest in hanging out with you. He might just want sex, and that's fair enough. He's entitled to wanting what he wants. But you can see through all that, it's the quickest way to smoke a guy out, who's interested, who's not, and who are the time wasters. Is this guy going to invest? Is he as interested in me? It's really the easiest way and fastest. So you know, it works.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice as well. And I think what was coming up for me was, if you're giving in too easily to a man, does that mean that he's holding all the power? Does that mean that he can get all his own ways? Are you sending that message out?
Yeah, I think, you know, with even with human relationships, I think, I mean, like even with work, you don't get a job and just go to work and say, I'll work for free. You can have it every way you want. You set the hours, you set the time, or you set whether I'm getting paid or not. That's not the way it works. Relationships are a two-way system. You
Yeah.
know, if the person isn't going to invest in you, why would you invest all your eggs in their basket? It's not logical, and I don't feel it's smart. I think definitely the time before you're intimate with a man is the time to see, like, I remember hearing this joke, I can't remember where, Wendy, but it was the WIFM frequency radio station. WIFM, what's in it for me, radio station. And you know, men are smart. Men are going to see what's in it for me. Is this a girl, like I said, that's going to be a good mother to my children? Is she going to clean the house? Men love clean houses, and you know, and now, you know, other things. I'm just giving that as an example. Is she going to look after me? Is she going to cook for me? What's in it for me? I think women should have that attitude too, and it's not selfish. It's smart, and it's logical, because relationships, as you know, Wendy, you're an expert. They're tough. They're tough. So, you know, when there's a bit of stress added in and a crying baby and you're sick as well, you need things to be right. Relationships are tough enough when everything is right. So give yourself the best chance, you know, and get somebody who's going to be 100% on board. That would be my advice, you know.
So when you that's the advice you give the people that you work with. Do you work with women and men?
I work with women and men, and it's great to see, Wendy, everybody's looking for love. Girls say to me, oh, the men, they don't want love, they just want to hook up, or the one night stand. It might appear that way, and they might put that face forward, maybe to be macho or whatever reasons they have, but everybody wants the shelter of someone to come home to that has their back when nobody else has. And it's really refreshing, you know. Love is alive and well. It's just to get people out, to meet the right people, to meet each other, you know.
Yes. And as you say, I think I've worked with I work with singles and you know, individual singles and married and together, whatever, all kinds of situations in relationships. But where you see that women are hanging in there, or even guys sometimes, that they just hang in there because they're hoping that, you know, that this will work out. If only I did this, if only I did that. They're not hurt that bad, but actually, as you say, they're not giving themselves the best chance, because they're wasting that time with that person.
The time wasters are huge. And I think, you know, like 2 points on that, Wendy. The first point is, you know, when a guy shows a bit of interest, like I say, you want that love story. Women want that love story. They want the happy ending. You kind of reach for that. You want it to work. So of course you're going to, you know, tell yourself the nice story. Oh, look, it might change down the line, or maybe it's something I did, you know. And look, it could be, you know, there's that situation too. Women aren't perfect. We're not perfect, you know. I appreciate that. But, you know, I think definitely the signs are there at the start of the relationship. You know, even if I've been in a relationship before and it didn't work out, I probably knew within the first 2 weeks to a month, you know. But you say, oh, maybe it's just a once off, or, you know, he's having a bad day or whatever. We do make excuses, us women, you know, we're hopers, you know. So that's the first thing. Watch out for the signs and don't waste your time. And the second thing I would say is, you know, like people say to me, you know, well, it's very hard to meet somebody nowadays, and, you know, you have to make a go for it. And that is true too. But like, don't settle. There are loads of people out there. It's a numbers game. Once you don't give up and you keep increasing your circle and increasing your network, you'll be meeting new people. They'll introduce you to new people, and it continues. It's a domino effect. You will meet the right person, you know.
Yeah, and I think that is the problem, and people only see online dating, which can be very shallow, or Tinder, which is, you know, you just swipe. I've ever used Tinder, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think it would appeal to me very much. But it is that, you know, it's appearance, and I think I think sometimes we get that forced view when we see programs like Love Island or Naked Attraction, and it's all about that visual thing, and oh, love is, you know, is wonderful, but it's a very fairy tale kind of image, and you say those rose-colored spectacles are on, and they're not really using their heads. They're actually, you know, love will conquer all. It's always these romantic movies, isn't it? And yeah, we see all the celebrities, they fall in love on this Love Island, but that's not real, and that's what people aren't looking at, I think. For me, I believe that it's not just, yes, of course we need to be attracted to somebody, because, you know, if that's not there, I think it depends. I mean, some people do it, it's very visual or physical, and I think there's a certain amount of that, which is important. But the other things, when I say, well, what do you look for in a partner? Oh, that we have the same hobbies, we do the same things, and yeah, we get on together. I said, hold on a minute, you know, your hobbies will change over a lifetime. You know, what you're looking for are the core beliefs and values, because they're the important things in a relationship. That's what give it longevity. Because if you've got real differences, say just religion, if one person is very religious or they've got a particular stand and the other one isn't, you know, it's hard enough, as you said. You know, I will say that when we start a relationship, it's like one person is speaking Chinese and the other one speaking Italian. And you have come from those backgrounds, and I know that's extreme, but that's what happens in our lives, isn't it?
100%, Wendy, I agree with you. It's the values.
Yeah, it is.
You're right. I do agree with that, because, and like you say, Love Island and all this, it's you know, it's creating this kind of fickle thing, and all, you know, the celebrity lifestyle, like you say, you know, and I think, you know, kindness is hugely underrated. Like, I remember when I met my husband, I was like, he's kind. I think kindness, you know, it really is underrated. And, you know, we could be looking like, us women, we could be looking at a guy's shoes in a nightclub and say, oh, well, he's wearing those shoes. You know, I've met women like this, you know, I couldn't date him, he has those shoes. And I say to him, you can buy him new shoes. There are things you can change. Like you just said, it's the values, it's the common ground. That's what key. And I have asked happily married people for 30 and 40 years, I'm always doing research myself, what's the secret, what's the answer, what makes the happy union? And time again, they've said to me, the values and trust and mutual respect. You're 100% right. I agree with you.
Yeah. I think it's been fascinating, and I really enjoyed listening to you today. So I know that you have, tell me more about who you work with and how you work with people.
I thank you, Wendy. Thank you so much. And the pleasure is all mine. I work with men and women. Yeah. So from 28 years upwards, or even younger, if they want help or need help. But that would be the main category I work with people. And it's men and women. And I do my sessions through Skype or the phone or WhatsApp, so there's no problem with geography. So it's fantastic. Or local people, they come to my office here in town. Mm-hmm. So like I say, I help them with dating, help them with their blocks if they have blocks with dating, and optimize their chances with meeting the one. So it's fascinating work. It really is.
Great. So you've got a special offer at the moment you'd like to offer people.
I do, Wendy. At the first 10 people listening to this podcast fully, I normally do programs and work overtime with people, but I'm doing a special offer today. It's a once-off coaching session for €50 if they contact me and mention that tell me about that they've listened to this podcast or mention this podcast, and they can have that offer.
Brilliant. That's really great. So how is the best way of contacting you? What is I'll put all your details in the show notes, but just one way, the quickest way or the easiest way of contacting you for anybody who's at the moment.
Yes, thank you, Wendy. And they can email me, franceskelleher1@gmail.com, or I'm on all the platforms of social media, or my website. They can contact me through that, www.franceskelleher.com.
Brilliant.
Sorry, Wendy, Frances Kelleher Coaching, .com.
Okay, so Frances Kelleher
Coaching.
Coaching.com. Okay,
That's right.
brilliant. And I say I'll put it all in the show notes, but it's just useful to have that when we're as I say, people are often listening to podcasts on the go. Joe, it's been an absolute delight chatting to you today and hearing what you've got to say. And I think, I hope the listeners enjoy it as well, as much as I have. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Wendy, for having me on. It's just such an honor to be on your show. I admire your work so much. You do fantastic work. And thank you so much again.
Thank you. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. You can find all the details in the show notes. I'd also love to hear from you. Maybe you want to learn more about me or to suggest areas you'd like me to cover in the future. You can do both those things through my website, wendykatewell.co.uk. So until next time, bye.